What if I told you that between 1970 and 1976, American grocery prices surged by 57%, that in April of 1973, over 50 million Americans joined a nationwide meat boycott organized by frustrated housewives. Meat sales in New York dropped 95% in a single week. Gangs were hijacking meat trucks in Atlanta. A Portland housewife confessed she'd been feeding her husband horse meat for 3 years. Governor Reagan's response? Meat shortages are largely due to God's will, and I'm not in favor of boycotting him. Families were spending 20% of their income on groceries, and out of that desperation came some of the most creative, resourceful, and surprisingly delicious dishes this country has ever produced. Meals that fed an entire generation. Meals that have almost completely vanished. These are 25 forgotten budget creations from the 1970s, and documented records show some of these stories are almost too strange to believe. Number 25. Beans and Franks. If you grew up in New England, you already know. Saturday night meant one thing: beans and Franks. Canned baked beans, combined with sliced hot dogs, baked with brown sugar, mustard, and barbecue sauce. The combination traces back to the Civil War, when canned baked beans became one of America's first convenience foods. By the 70s, it was a sacred weekly tradition. One Maine reader recalled, "Growing up, my parents always served beans and Franks on Saturday night. Wednesdays were spaghetti, Fridays fish, Sundays pot roast. Women competed with their baked bean creations at church suppers, always served with canned brown bread and piccalilli relish. And if you know, you know." Saturday night also meant bath night. Wash behind your ears. And if beans and Franks ruled Saturday night, this next creation ruled every cocktail party in America. Number 24. The cheese ball. Cream cheese mixed with shredded sharp cheddar, Worcestershire sauce, and onion powder, rolled in chopped pecans, surrounded by crackers. The 70s were the golden age of the party appetizer, and the cheese ball was king. Pineapple versions, port wine logs, smoky oyster rolls. Every woman had her secret variation, and bringing a bad cheese ball to a potluck could damage your reputation for years. One church cookbook from Ohio listed 17 different cheese ball variations, each credited to a different woman who insisted hers was the original. The cheese ball became such a symbol of 70s entertaining that it was abandoned for charcuterie boards by the 80s. But records show that during COVID quarantine, Campbell's gained 8.6 million new customers pulling out retro appetizers. The cheese ball might just be staging a comeback nobody expected. But if regional food traditions interest you, wait until you hear the naming war behind this next dish. And number 23, American Goulash. Or is it American Chop Suey? Or Johnny Marzetti? That depends entirely on where you grew up. Ground beef, elbow macaroni, and tomato sauce, all cooked in one pot. New England calls it American Chop Suey, from a Mandarin phrase meaning a little of this and that. The Midwest calls it goulash, borrowed from Hungarian cattlemen. Parts of Ohio call it Johnny Marzetti, after a Columbus restaurant family. Documented records confirm the American versions bear zero resemblance to the Hungarian or Chinese originals. This dish existed for one pure reason: stretching 1 pound of hamburger to feed a family of 5. As one mother put it, "We have reached the 1 pound of meat is not cutting it for our family portion of the program." In the 70s, that was not a joke. It was Tuesday night. Speaking of stretching meat, this next creation has a name that alone hooks you in. Number 22, Porcupine Meatballs. Ground beef meatballs with uncooked rice mixed right in, simmered in condensed tomato soup. The rice swells during cooking and pokes through the surface like quills. Born during the Great Depression, when rice cost pennies, this dish appeared in Campbell's 1972 cookbook and became a staple on handwritten cards passed between neighbors and church friends. One potluck regular remembered, "People always get nostalgic when I take them. They go fast." The concept behind it, stretching ground beef with cheap starch, was the single most important budget strategy of the entire decade. And if porcupine meatballs sound unusual, the identity crisis of this next dish is even stranger. Number 21, Ambrosia Salad. Named after the food of the Greek gods, Ambrosia was fruit cocktail, shredded coconut, miniature marshmallows, and maraschino cherries held together with Cool Whip. The original 1867 version was elegant, just coconut, sugar, and oranges. By the 1920s, marshmallows and canned pineapple transformed it into something entirely different. Every family gathering had a designated ambrosia maker, and you did not question her authority. One woman recalled her grandmother slapping her hand away for trying to sneak marshmallows before serving. That bowl is for company. If you watched Edward Scissorhands, you saw it on screen. The neighbor force feeds Edward a giant bowl. The dish declined because it was not Instagram worthy. Too sweet for a salad, too fruity for a dessert. But in the South and Midwest, it persists at holiday tables to this day. Some traditions are simply stronger than trends. If ambrosia fooled people into thinking fruit salad was dinner, this next invention took deception further. Number 20, poor man's steak. Ground beef mixed with crushed saltine crackers, shaped into rectangular steaks, seared in a skillet, then smothered in cream of mushroom soup gravy and baked. Sometimes called Amish poor man's steak, because it appears in so many Amish community cookbooks. One grandmother used to say, "We might not have T-bones, but we have something better. Good food made with love." That dish sustained families through the Depression, wartime rationing, and every budget crunched the 70s through at them. It disappeared because people forgot that sometimes the most impressive cooking means making something extraordinary out of almost nothing. Speaking of extraordinary origins, this next dish has a secret most people never discover. Number 19, tuna noodle casserole. Egg noodles, canned tuna, cream of mushroom soup, frozen peas, topped with crushed potato chips and baked. The first version appeared in 1930, but Campbell's cream of mushroom soup in 1934 was the game changer. That one product became so dominant in Midwest church cooking, it earned the nickname the Lutheran Binder. Gen food writer Helen Evans Brown purposely left tuna casserole out of her 1952 cookbook. James Beard reluctantly included it in 1955, then complained, "Only tuna fish and potato chips and Campbell's soup seem to sell." For decades, this was the default dish you brought to a grieving family's home after a death. Grief food, comfort food, budget food, all in one pan. If tuna casserole was the dish you brought, this next dessert generated angry phone calls from confused home cooks. Number 18, dump cake. Canned fruit in a pan, dry cake mix sprinkled on top unmixed, pats of butter on everything, no mixing required. Records show it dates to September 1964. The best part of this story happened in 1969, when a Florida newspaper printed the instructions and was flooded with angry calls from readers convinced it was a misprint. They could not believe you literally just dump ingredients without mixing after actually making it. One woman called back to apologize, admitting the cake was quite good. Her husband had eaten half the pan before she could stop him. Cherry pie filling, crushed pineapple, yellow cake mix, butter, pecans, 5 ingredients, 0 effort, maximum nostalgia. If dump cake was simple, this next dish required something modern cooks find genuinely revolting. Number 17, tomato aspic. Savory gelatin made with seasoned tomato juice, Worcestershire sauce and celery, set in a decorative mold, served on lettuce with mayonnaise. Aspics date back to medieval cooking, with documented records of the first detailed version appearing in 1375. By the 70s, tomato aspic was a fixture at ladies' luncheons and southern social events. It was considered a mark of sophistication. A woman's reputation as a hostess could rise or fall based on her aspic. One Southern grandmother reportedly refused to attend a bridal shower where the aspic was made with store-bought tomato juice instead of homemade. And ask anyone under 60 to try it today, and the reaction is universal. One tester described it as marinara sauce Jell-O. The entire category of savory gelatin has vanished from American tables, and it is not coming back. And if tomato aspic divided generations, this next creation divided the entire internet. Number 16. Bologna Cake. Layers of sliced bologna glued together with cream cheese and ranch seasoning, frosted with more cream cheese, decorated with cheese whiz. Documented records suggest it started as a joke in the American South, but it spread in genuine popularity. Bologna itself was practically a food group in 70s households. Fried bologna with the edges curling up, bologna cups baked in muffin tins, bologna spread ground with pickles and mayo for sandwiches. Years later, the cake went viral on TikTok as a cursed food meme. One grandmother saw the video and called her granddaughter furious. "That is not a joke. I served that at your mother's christening." Those brave enough to actually try it reported the same thing. Shockingly good. Sometimes the most mocked dishes carry the deepest memories. If Bologna cake sounds impossible, this next invention literally has that word in its name. Number 15, impossible pie. All ingredients: eggs, milk, sugar, biscuit, butter, coconut, dumped into a pie plate. No crust needed. During baking, it magically separates into 3 layers. Crust on the bottom, a custard in the middle, crispy coconut on top. Records show Biscuit turned this concept into a massive product line throughout the 70s. Impossible cheeseburger pie, impossible taco pie. The appeal was 0 pastry skills required, no rolling pins, no blind baking, no frustration. One woman recalled, "My new mother-in-law handed me this card the day after my wedding and said, 'Start here.' It was the first thing I ever made that actually worked." For a generation of new brides, Impossible Pie was where cooking began. If Impossible Pie launched 1,000 marriage kitchens, this next one involves an 11-year-old girl and the Civil War. Number 14, 7-layer bars, graham cracker crust, melted butter, sweetened condensed milk, chocolate chips, butterscotch chips, coconut, chopped nuts, layered and baked. By 1968, Borden marketed them as Magic Cookie Bars. The Hello Dolly name likely comes from 11-year-old Alicia Lee Couch of Dallas, who published her version in 1965, named after the Broadway musical. Eagle brand condensed milk itself carries a remarkable history. Founder Gail Borden sold condensed milk from a New York street cart, starting in 1856. During the Civil War, the government ordered massive quantities as field rations. One 14-ounce can packed 1,300 calories. Wartime survival food became the foundation of one of America's most beloved cookie bars. An 11-year-old girl named it. A Civil War entrepreneur made it possible. That is American food history in a single dessert. And if those bars are built on layers, wait until you see what these dishes suspended in midair. Number 13, Jell-O mold salads. When powdered gelatin appeared in 1845, it made what had been a luxury food accessible to everyone. At 10 cents a box, Jell-O became the cheapest way to make small amounts of food look impressive. Jell-O distributed 15 million recipe booklets. Norman Rockwell illustrated their ads. By the 70s, the creations were getting strange. Lime Jell-O with shrimp suspended in green gelatin. Tuna Jell-O mold, deviled egg Jell-O with mustard, mayo, eggs, bacon bits, and dill pickle. And the legendary California prune cream salad, which combined cottage cheese, prunes, chili sauce, mayonnaise, and pickles inside gelatin. One woman recalled her mother crying at a church potluck when nobody touched her prune Jell-O mold. She worked on that mold for 2 days. The entire gelatin era has vanished, but those who lived through it will never forget it. From suspended shrimp to a surprising French connection, this next dish has a secret that changes everything. Number 12, Salmon Patties. Canned salmon, crushed saltines, eggs, and onion, pan-fried in cast iron. Always served with mashed potatoes, creamed peas, and coleslaw. Here is what nobody realizes. Documented records show croquettes were invented in France around 1898 by Auguste Escoffier, the founder of classical French cuisine. This humble poor folks' dinner is secretly fancy French cooking. The generational divide is hilarious. Older cooks mash the soft bones right into the mixture for calcium. Younger cooks are horrified. One woman shared, "My mom was a single mom of 3 girls. She used mackerel instead, much cheaper. And I did not realize most folks used salmon until I was an adult. Every family had their own version. Every family thought theirs was best. If salmon patties carried a hidden French pedigree, this next dish stretches back to ancient Rome." Number 11. Liver and onions. Thin slices of beef liver, dredged in flour, pan-fried in butter, served with caramelized onions. This dish traces to Roman times, when liver was cooked with figs. By the 70s, it was dirt cheap and nutrient-dense. Then, 5 forces killed it simultaneously. Cheap ground chuck appeared. Housewives did not want the smell. Immigrant families assimilated. The cholesterol scare branded liver dangerous, and younger generations simply refused. The cartoon Doug featured an episode where the character dreads dinner because they are serving liver and onions. Now, social media health coaches are rebranding liver as the original superfood. What goes around comes back around, as from a dish that fell out of favor to one where the secret ingredient makes you do a double take. Number 10, mayonnaise cake, rich chocolate cake, where mayo replaces eggs and oil. It became popular during World War II, when eggs, butter, and milk were rationed. Mayo provided the same fat and emulsification. The science is simple. Mayo is eggs and oil. The emulsification creates an exceptionally moist cake. It disappeared due to the ick factor, but converts are passionate. This is the ultimate chocolate cake. It absolutely does not taste like mayo. One reader's discovery changed everything. "I made this with Coca-Cola instead of water. My family said it was the best cake I had ever made." A wartime invention hiding inside a condiment jar. If mayo in cake is surprising, the origin of this next dessert involves a chemist, his wife, and a cocktail that changed everything. Number 9. Grasshopper Pie. No-bake mint chocolate pie with an Oreo crust. Filled with melted marshmallows blended with crème de menthe and crème de cacao, folded into whipped cream. The Grasshopper cocktail was created around 1949 by chemist Lawrence Pugh. The flavor was a hit, but the brown color was not. They developed clear crème de cacao specifically to fix it. Then, Mrs. Pugh converted her husband's cocktail into a pie using marshmallows and a chocolate crumb crust. A chemist invented the drink. His wife made it famous. And that is the part of the story nobody ever tells. It became the ultimate 70s dinner party dessert. Green, minty, no bake, and effortlessly impressive. From a pie born in a cocktail glass to a casserole born in a congressional competition. Number 8. Tater Tot Hotdish. Browned ground beef, canned vegetables, cream of mushroom soup, topped with frozen tater tots. Tater tots themselves were invented in 1953 as a way to use leftover potato scraps from French fry production. A budget food born from waste. Hot dish is so sacred in Minnesota that Congress members hold an annual competition on Capitol Hill. Tim Walz won 3 years running. Amy Klobuchar won the first contest with taconite tater tot hot dish. As one editor put it, "To the people who grew up eating it, hot dish is not a food, but a memory. And memories like that do not fade." The military history behind this next dish explains why millions of veterans taught it to their families. Number 7. SOS. Creamed chipped beef on toast. The first documented version appears in the 1910 Manual for Army Cooks for 60 men, requiring 15 pounds of beef. Soldiers dubbed it SOS, officially Same Old Slop, though every veteran knows the real name. Each military branch had its own take. The Navy used ground beef with tomatoes and nutmeg. One ship was so upset at receiving the Army's version, they restricted it to once a year. Here is the twist nobody expected. Soldiers who had grown sick of it, ironically, craved it once home. They taught it to their wives. It spread into civilian kitchens across America and thrived through the 70s. A dish born in military mess halls became the backbone of family breakfasts nationwide. If soldiers brought SOS home from war, this next invention starts with a can of soup and ends in a museum. Number 6. Tomato soup cake. A spice cake made with a full can of Campbell's condensed tomato soup. First appeared in a Campbell's cookbook from the 1920s. In 1960, it became the first creation ever to appear on a Campbell's can label. Records show they still receive roughly 65,000 views per year on this dish. The soup does not make it taste like tomatoes. It adds moisture and acidity while reacting with baking soda to create an incredibly light texture. Most tasters compare it to carrot cake and are stunned when told the secret. It vanished because nobody wanted to confess there was soup in their cake. As one food writer put it, America has always been fascinated by cakes made with strange ingredients. This one might be the strangest of them all. And if tomato soup cake bent the rules, this next invention broke them entirely. Number 5, Wacky Cake. Chocolate cake with no eggs, no butter, no milk, and no mixing bowls. Mixed directly in the baking pan. She created during the Depression when eggs and butter were unaffordable. 3 wells pressed into the dry ingredients. Vinegar in one, vanilla in another, oil in the third, water poured over everything. The vinegar and baking soda react to leaven the batter. A science class volcano making a cake. One touching memory reads, "We all begged our teacher to get the Wacky Cake instructions from her mother. The class cookbook had a pink construction paper cover, and at my house, the pages were all bent to the Wacky Cake page. The kicker for modern audiences? It is accidentally vegan. No eggs, no dairy. A creation born from poverty turned out to be decades ahead of its time. If Wacky Cake was ahead of its time, this next dish carries a name connected to one of the biggest political scandals in history. Number 4, Watergate Salad. Pistachio pudding mix, crushed pineapple, Cool Whip, marshmallows, and pecans. Bright green, no cooking. The Kraft developed it as Pistachio Pineapple Delight in 1975. Then, an unidentified Chicago food editor renamed it Watergate Salad. Neither the article nor the editor has ever been found. The name came from Watergate Cake, with a cover-up icing. The cake has a cover-up icing and is full of nuts. But here's what will genuinely stun people. Documented records show Helen Keller published a nearly identical version in 1922 called Golden Gate Salad. Pineapple, nuts, marshmallows, whipped cream, also known as green goop, green stuff, and funeral salad because it appeared at so many post-funeral gatherings. A political scandal, a Helen Keller connection, and funeral food. You cannot make this up. If Watergate Salad's story spans politics, the economics behind this next dish are completely upside down. Number 3, city chicken. Cubes of pork and veal on wooden skewers, breaded, fried, and baked. Despite the name, it contains no chicken. A Depression-era invention by Polish and Ukrainian immigrants in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Detroit, and Chicago. Before the 1950s, chicken was expensive because city families could not raise them. Pork and veal were cheap because slaughterhouses were in town. Hoover's 1928 campaign promised a chicken in every pot. City chicken was the creative workaround. Here is what makes this story unforgettable. Polish people in Poland have no idea what it is. It is 100% an American invention. Stores in Pittsburgh and Cleveland still sell it today. The dish faded once mass production made chicken cheap and veal expensive. The economic logic simply reversed itself. A dish that only existed because chicken was a luxury. That alone tells you how much the world has changed. Now we arrive at an invention whose story involves the National Inventors Hall of Fame and a woman who changed how America eats. Number 2, green bean casserole. Canned green beans, cream of mushroom soup, milk, soy sauce, French's fried onions. 6 ingredients, 30 minutes. Created in 1955 by Dorcas Reilly, a Campbell's test kitchen home economist. Originally called green bean bake, it did not test well. But Reilly persisted. Her genius was the crispy fried onion topping, the bit of glamour that elevated an ordinary dish. By the 70s, 40% of all Campbell's cream of mushroom soup went toward this single creation. 20 million households still serve it at Thanksgiving. The original card was donated to the National Inventors Hall of Fame. displayed alongside Thomas Edison's light bulb. When a Campbell's executive told his mother about its corporate origins, she got angry, insisting it was her aunt's version. Millions of families believe the same thing. It was never a family heirloom. It was created in a corporate test kitchen by a woman most people have never heard of. Dorcas Reilly passed away in 2018 at age 92. She changed how a nation eats on its most important holiday. And now, the #1 forgotten budget creation from the 1970s. A dish so deceptive it fooled taste buds for over 100 years. And documented records prove its real history goes far deeper than anyone realizes. #1, mock apple pie. A pie that tastes remarkably like apple pie, but contains 0 apples. Ritz crackers cooked in sugar lemon cream of tartar syrup, placed in a pie crust, and baked. Most people believe it was a Depression invention, but records exist dating it to the mid-1800s. The Saturday Evening Post in 1857. The Confederate Receipt Book in 1863. Pioneer journals from the 1852 California Gold Rush. When Ritz crackers debuted in 1934, Nabisco printed it right on the box, from World War II through 1993. The science is fascinating. Cream of tartar mimics, apple tartness. Cinnamon triggers apple associations. A sensory scientist at Ohio State explained that your brain fills in the missing aroma. You taste apples because your brain expects apples. But here is the delicious irony. By the 60s and 70s, many moms made this when Ritz crackers were more expensive than actual apples. The Depression necessity had become a novelty party trick. Nabisco removed it from boxes in the 1980s and received 1,500 requests in a single year demanding it back. A dish born on covered wagons, printed on cracker boxes during wartime, served at 70s dinner tables across America, and at its core, a lesson in how our own brains can be fooled by the simplest ingredients. That is why it is #1. These 25 dishes are more than food. They are a map of what American families went through. The inflation, the shortages, the creativity, and the refusal to let hard times steal the comfort of a home-cooked meal. A young baker named B. And Dylan Hollis started posting vintage cooking videos during the pandemic and now has over 10 million followers. His cookbook debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. Rising food costs today make these budget creations feel suddenly urgent again. Maybe that is because when the world feels chaotic, a bubbling casserole pulled from the oven connects us to something deeper, something our mothers and grandmothers understood. The best meals are not about fancy ingredients. They are about making something extraordinary out of almost nothing. Which of these do you remember? Did your family have their own version? Share your story in the comments. And if this brought back memories, subscribe, because we have a lot more forgotten stories to uncover.